Hello, everybody. Welcome back to High and D Sports. My name's Ocean.
How's it? My name's John.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to do a little bit, not a different kind of episode, but it's something that you guys haven't seen on this show yet. We told you guys in the beginning that our intention is to cover a variety of sports, everything from basketball to football to the Olympics to soccer. We covered the World Cup, and we do love football, and I'll admit a lot of our videos are going to be centered around football as long as it's in season. But this episode, we are going to talk about the Sony Open. It is the golf event that just happened here in Hawaii on the island of Oahu, played at Waialae Country Club. It is one of the first events of the 2023 PGA Tour season. And I went to it in person, and we have a couple local boys that played in that tournament, and there's just some stuff that we want to talk about, especially because over the past like year to a year and a half or so, both me and John have kind of picked up golf.
Mm-hmm.
I played it. I played it like I play it pretty often. Like I literally just came from the driving range 10 minutes ago and was working on some stuff, and John plays whenever he's home. But John, why don't you tell the people what got us into golf?
Well, it started, a few years ago. I was the best man for your wedding.
Righteous.
And I had no idea what I wanted to do for the bachelor party. There are some other circumstances where you can't do like the typical, take you to a club, get you some
Right.
strippers and that kind of stuff. Not like I wanted to do that anyway. And another thing, I'm not 20. I wasn't 21 at the time, so I
Right.
couldn't get into bars. I couldn't get into clubs.
Yeah.
If that's what we wanted to do. So ultimately, I came to the decision. Hey, you know what? I didn't know if anybody that was in your party or whatever knew how to golf, but I was like, hey, let's just go golf. Let's go find a nice place to go golf, and let's go do it.
And,
I,
and we did.
right, and obviously, I didn't realize how expensive golf was because I think it ended up being like $100 a person that day.
Yeah. At
Um,
least. Yeah. But yeah,
but
we
yeah.
we did. We went and played a golf course on the Big Island, and it's probably still to this day one of the nicest courses I've ever
Oh
played,
yeah.
which is funny. Which I don't know if you can count what we were doing on that golf course as playing, but uh, we had a lot of fun, and it was a
Yep.
great bachelor party, and I enjoyed it a lot. And the reason why I picked up golf shortly after that was because, like I said, that day I don't know if you could call it playing because half of us couldn't even hit the ball. We had no idea what we were doing. There was like 8 of us out there, which if you're into golf, you know that that's a no-no, like so uh what struck me was that typically I'm athletic enough to pick up sports. Like when I play basketball, I'm athletic enough to kind of hold my own. Same with baseball. Like I can hit home runs pretty easily. Like I'm just athletic enough to pick up sports really quickly. But when I played golf, it was like I had never played a sport in my life. Couldn't hit
hmm
the ball. Couldn't do anything, and like even putting was a disaster. So
hmm
in my head, I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell?" Like I didn't think it'd be this hard to just swing and hit a ball,
Right.
and so it just intrigued me, and it made me think to myself, "All right, well now I got to learn. Now I got to figure out how to do this because that's just the kind of like person I am." But so I ended up buying a set of old clubs off of Facebook Marketplace and just
hmm
started playing. And then when John came home during one of his breaks, he started playing with me. And now every time he's home or when I come to Minot, we try to play as much as we can because it's a really fun game. And there's so much to it that you pretty much will never be able to master the game. Like even
Yeah.
if you talk to professional level people within the sport of golf, they'll tell you that they're constantly working on stuff and they're constantly making mistakes and they never master their craft. So that's what got us into golf. And the Sony Open is a pretty big event here in Hawaii. Like it's on the island of Oahu. It's the only tour stop and pretty much the only major golf competition that we get here in on the island. So anybody that's really into golf, it's like our Super Bowl basically. Like this is the event that people like to go to. And it happens on one of the nicest courses down in Kahala. It's really cool. And I had never been to a golf event before, and so I wanted to go, not just to experience what it's like to be at a professional level golf tournament, but also like I said, we had some people or some local boys that were competing. There was a total of four local guys um, in the tournament. Hold on. I just want to make sure I say their names correctly.
And you went just for one day, right? You didn't go for the whole
Yeah.
weekend?
So technically golf tournaments happen um it's a week long thing. It starts on Monday with the Monday qualifiers, which is where people that don't have a tour card that can automatically get into the tournament, uh, you have to go on qualify. So like technically, if we wanted to, we could sign up to play in the Monday qualifiers, and if we win or if we make it past a certain cut, then we would get to play in the Sony Open because it's an open event, right? And then once that happens and they set the field, then they have what are called pro-ams, which is where professional players will play with like celebrities or with the general public as um like a PR thing basically. Like it's just them, interacting with the
Yeah.
public, interacting with celebrities to just garner good PR and whatnot. And so oh jeez. And then after that, then it's like practice rounds. Like guys play practice rounds on like Wednesday and Tuesday, and then the tournament starts on Thursday. And there's four rounds: one round on Thursday, one round Friday, one round Saturday, and then the final round on Sunday. And your score is the cumulative of all four rounds, unless you don't make the cut, which happens Friday at the end of the day. There's a cut that cuts like half of the field out, basically, and then the final X amount of players play on Saturday and Sunday. So that's generally how a golf event works, from my understanding, as somebody that's only been to one and has only ever watched stuff on TV before. Uh, but uh, I went on Thursday because one of the players that was from Hawaii uh, is a good friend of my good friend. I know we're
Connections.
it's connections. I had never met him prior to, but this person that we have a mutual friend of is kind of like my golf coach. Like he's been coaching me through golf and helping me because he's been playing for his entire life and whatnot. And so I always hear about this guy, and he always talks about what he did because he used to caddy for him and all this stuff. And so I went to go watch his round, and his name is Brent Grant. He just got his tour card this year. This is the first year that he has gotten his card for the PGA Tour, and he's from what I understand. I actually met his family on Thursday and talked with his family and had a great time. And from what I understand, he was born in the mainland. His father was in the Navy. They moved here to Hawaii, and then he spent the rest of his childhood here in Hawaii. I'm not sure if the dad retired here and then they stayed here or what that situation was, but what I do know is that he was here as a real young kid, and he spent like 90% of his childhood here. I believe he graduated from Lelehua, and then he went on to college and continued his golf career. And he played, or he's from what his father told me is he started playing in middle school.
Wow. It must have been
Sorry, I'm
cool
still
getting to watch someone that you kind of know. Like it's the same
Yeah,
thing with me with my friend who my former teammate who's in the NFL. Like
right.
watching him on screen, or if I were to go watch him in a game, it'd be pretty cool.
I mean, it'd be a little bit different because you actually know the guy and you've met him.
Oh
I
yeah.
met him. I met him that day on Thursday, but prior to that, I hadn't met him and I hadn't never talked to him. I had the opportunity to play with him the week before he came up the week before and had
Hmm.
spent time here visiting family and whatnot. And I had the opportunity to play with him one day because what's really funny is the mutual friend that we have is also named Brent. So I'm gonna say the name Brent a lot, and you're not gonna really know who I'm referring to because both of the people are named Brent. But my friend Brent was playing with Brent, the tour professional, and he had an extra spot for me to come play with them. And it was a day that I had off from work, and I totally could have gone to play, but I had chosen to sleep in that day. Like that was a
Mm.
day that I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna sleep in today, get some extra rest." And then when I woke up at like 10 o'clock, I looked at my phone and he was like, "Hey man, I got a spot for you to come play with Brent. Can you come?" And it was at like 8 o'clock, and I was like,
Mm.
"Oh my gosh!" The one day that I choose to sleep in is the day that I could have gotten to go and play with a PGA Tour professional.
That's crazy.
So that was a bummer, but it was still awesome, and it was
So
awesome to go to the event.
who
Yeah,
are
go
the
ahead.
other three? Who are the other three
Yeah,
local people?
I'm just having such a hard time finding their names, but I'm gonna try and remember who they are. One guy's name is um, I just saw it, Michael Castillo. So I believe I don't know if he lived here or whatever, but he has ties to Hawaii. He was also the oldest player in the field that made it
Mm.
to the tournament, like made it past the Monday qualifier. And he was 60 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, 60 years old. He was 60 years old, played in the Monday qualifier, made it through the Monday qualifier against everybody. And there's no when it comes to events like there's no such thing as handicap, right? Like everybody plays off of the same tees with the same yardages. Like you don't get to choose your tee and choose your handicap or whatever.
Hmm.
So he played the same as everybody else, made it past the Monday qualifier. He was actually in the same group with Brent Grant when I went to watch him on Thursday. So I got to watch Michael Castillo play,
Hmm.
and he's 60 years old. I was also told that he's fighting cancer. I'm not 100% sure if that's true because it was just a third party thing. Like somebody had just mentioned it, so I didn't hear that directly from him or from a reputable source. So I can't confirm. But even if that's not true, the fact that you're 60 years old playing in a PGA Tour event, and to be honest, he didn't do very good. I mean, um, that day, I think he ended up like 7 over or 8 over par. But like the dude is 60 years old and he plays better than I do. Like
Yeah.
I have never shot that low.
Hmm.
Most people that play golf have never shot 8 over before.
Yeah.
So it's just incredible. It was incredible to watch a guy at that age somewhat keep up with everybody around
Right.
him. And he did it very interestingly because, as you can imagine, somebody that's a little bit older may not be as strong or be able to swing the club as hard. So his numbers off the tee when he would tee off weren't like horrible, but they were farther back than everybody else. So he would always have these long shots into the green,
Hmm.
and he would constantly be hitting like his hybrid or his 3 wood or maybe a 5 wood into the green. But he was so good with them that he would hit the green more often than not with all of those long clubs with 200 to 250 yards out. And
Hmm.
I was blown away about how good he was getting on the green with a below average tee shot compared to the rest of the field. It was really impressive to watch.
So you said he finished with over 8. That means he's probably got cut after
He
Thursday
did. No, not after Thursday. The cut happens on Friday,
on
but
Friday?
I'm like 99% sure he got cut Friday. Um, but unless he had an insane round, but I didn't follow him for the rest of the weekend. The only person that I followed was the winners and then Brent Grant's score.
Okay.
So uh there's another guy from Hawaii named Blaze Akana. So Blaze Akana was a UH golfer and he made it through the Monday qualifier and played in the Sony Open. Not sure how he did.
He was cut. He finished +3.
Okay. Still, for a college golfer to be able to make it through the Monday qualifier,
Yeah.
and he's a sophomore too, so that's really really awesome to see.
So
Yeah.
who ultimately won the Sony Open?
So the Sony Open was won by a Korean named um, Siwoo Kim. He This is a guy that I'm not super familiar with. Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but the thing about professional golf, right, is that there are so many people in the on the PGA tour, right?
Hmm.
Like there's I let's see. So how many so roughly every year there's about 175 people on the PGA tour. On the PGA tour.
Hmm.
There's different tours out there, but it's pretty well known that the PGA Tour is like the elite, right? So there's 175 plus a few, like roughly 175. So there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys on the tour, and then when you get to these tournaments that are open tournaments, like the Sony Open was, you can have anybody, right? Anybody could just come off the street, make it through the Monday qualifier, make it through the cut, and win the event. So
Hmm.
sometimes you're just not. I'm like I said, I'm just not familiar with
Right.
who won. So
Right.
and plus I haven't been following the sport for that long.
Yeah. I just want to
So
point out, I just looked this up.
yeah,
He won $1.4 million
yeah.
for
So
winning that.
let's talk about that a little bit, right? Let's talk about how much money there is in golf.
Right.
Okay, the total prize purse for the event was, it says 7.9 million here on
Right.
the website, but I was told that it was closer to 15
Hmm.
million. That the day of, I was told it was closer to 15. Now,
What does the
regardless,
purse mean? What does the purse
so
mean
that's the total amount of money that they have to give
to
to
give out?
as
Okay.
award money. So even if it was 7.9 million, that's still a ton of money to be
To
given
get,
out. You
yeah.
know, I don't know what the disbursement is, like what place wins how much, but obviously first place won 1.4, I think, or was it 1.4?
Yeah, 1.4 million.
Yeah. So, you know, if you win this event, like that's a pretty good chunk of change.
Yeah.
But there's also a whole lot of other benefits that come with being on the PGA Tour. Like I was being told that day that uh every person that is a PGA Tour member that comes to play in this tournament gets a free rental car. Like they just had a lot of rental cars, and so you fly in, you come to the hotel, you get free room at the hotel, and then there's a lot of cars, and if you want to go somewhere, you just go to that lot, you know, you are who you say you are, and then you can take a car and go, and you just have a
Dang,
free
that's
rental car,
crazy. That is
right?
crazy.
The restaurant at the there was a restaurant at the hotel that they could have free unlimited food, whatever they wanted,
That
anything,
is
them
absolutely
and their
crazy.
family. So they could take their family in there, they could have a huge meal, and it was all free. They also get a travel stipend. I don't know how much. I wasn't told how much, but I was told that they get a travel stipend. And then there's all kinds of like little benefits, like the equipment, right? You
Hmm.
get a whole bunch of, like, if you're sponsored by whatever company, you get all kinds of new clubs and whatnot. So the guy that my friend's friend Brent Grant, he's sponsored by a company called Strixon, and so he's always getting new stuff from Strixon. The clubs that he has in his bag, you can't even buy right now.
Yeah.
Like they're like prototype clubs. So he's like one of the first people to get stuff. And then when you go to the driving range, um, they have like just a table full of whatever balls you want. Like if you play Pro V1s, they have Pro V1s. If you play Strixon ball or TaylorMade TP5 or whatever balls you play, you can go to the table and get a basket of those, take them to the range and hit them, and everything is all free. And then I was also told that they go to the locker room, like when they're about to go to the or when they on the day of the event, there's a locker room that you can go and put your stuff in, whatever. And you open it up, and there's all kinds of like swag and stuff, like free
Ooh,
balls, free caps, free
that is
like
crazy.
it's incredible how many like little things that come along with being on the PGA Tour or getting into an event like this has. Uh, so it's just like there's so much to these events that I didn't know. Like there's way more below the surface than just a
Right.
bunch of guys playing golf, you know. So uh yeah.
Does
It
that
was really
does that give you a little bit of a drive to maybe even try?
well, so not I don't think I'll ever be good enough to play on the PGA Tour because I equate the PGA Tour to something like the CrossFit Games, right?
Hmm.
So like you're familiar with the CrossFit Games, and for those of you guys that are familiar with CrossFit and whatnot, like there's a disparity between the CrossFit Games level athletes and just your everyday athletes in the gym, or
Hmm.
even your good athletes in the gym, right? Like take somebody like our friend Bryce. The difference between him, even though he's one of the fittest guys here in Hawaii, and a games level athlete is
Right.
huge,
Right.
right? That's how it is with golf. The guys at the top of the game of golf, the guys like um, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Tiger Woods, Colin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson, like all those guys are so far and above. Just think about Brent Grant, right? I said that
Right.
he started playing golf in middle school, and
Right.
only this year he just got his tour card. He's 26,
Right.
so it took him over a decade to be able to get good enough to play at that level, and a decade of like dedication and hardcore and like focusing on it. Golf is just something I do in my pastime because I enjoy it, and it's something that
Right.
um, you know is a stress reliever and stuff for me. So that's the difference, you know. However, I will say that there are some local tournaments and some local, events that I would love to try my hand at. There's even
Hmm.
one at Barbers Point, the golf course that we play at pretty often. Uh, I know that they haven't had it since COVID, but I'm hoping that they bring it back. They have a Barbers Point Open, so I have thought about doing that. I still don't think I'm quite at that level yet. I have been putting in a lot of work, but I still need some more practice. So
But yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I think you can do it. And if you
eventually,
even if it means you make like $1,000,
sure. I mean, I don't
it's
even
better
care
than
about
nothing.
the I don't even care about the money. I just think it would be cool to participate in the tournament
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
and play it because like it's to me it's like competing in CrossFit, right? Like I did it for so long because I enjoyed competing. I enjoyed being on the competition floor,
Hmm.
having that adrenaline rush and whatnot. So if I could get something like that out of it, that's all I would really need. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more golf tournaments. Like I would like to go to some of the bigger ones.
Hmm.
Like there's some on the mainland, like the Riders Cup or the President's Cup, where it's like team based and
Hmm.
it's not as like proper, I guess you could call it, because they get at a golf tournament or a golf event when you're playing or when they're playing, like everything is very like you got to be quiet and you got to like if you make noise while somebody is swinging or somebody is putting, you're going to be kicked out of the tournament, right? But there's like the Riders Cup, from what I've heard, is it's more like a traditional sports game where you're meant to cheer. It's meant to be
Hmm.
like a fun, entertaining time. So I don't know. I'd like to go see something like that
What
one
is
day.
the next big thing for the PGA Tour, the next big like competition?
Good question. Um, so there's pretty much a an event every weekend,
Hmm.
like almost every weekend from all year. There's an event. So the next event is January 19th through the 22nd, and it's the American Express Cup, or let me see, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, the American Express tournament. That's the next tournament. It's played at the PGA West Private Clubhouse and Golf Course,
Sweet.
which is in California.
Sweet.
Yeah. So you can watch it on YouTube TV. Just go to the Golf Channel. They should have it. So.
And is there anyone that you, because I know you like Roy, right? Roy something.
Rory
Rory.
McIlroy. So Rory McIlroy is the best golfer in the world right now. But I'm pretty partial to a lot of the TaylorMade team. So Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa. Yeah, those are my guys that I like and I like to follow. Unfortunately, none of them were here for the Sony Open.
That's right though.
Yeah. The last thing I'd just like to add and end this video on is I saw just because I think you would appreciate it. Brent Grant hit a 400-yard drive during
Ooh.
his round on Thursday. He did hit the cart path, but he didn't mean to hit the cart path, but it was a slight dogleg left, and he was cutting over the trees. He cut it just a little bit too much to the left, and so drew it too much to the left, and so it landed on the cart path, and then it bounced another like 20 or 30 yards down. But it was still like
Dang.
a 300. Normally, it probably would have been like a 360-yard drive, but it was a 400-yard drive, and the hole was 430 or 40 yards, and he had like a 20-yard or 30-yard chip shot onto the green.
Was that a par four?
Yeah, par 4.
So did he get a birdie at least?
He did not. He ended up parring it.
That's all right.
The drive landed right before a bunker, and the pin was close to the bunker, so he didn't have a lot of green to work with. He shot it over, and it landed on the green, but it went too far, and so then he two-putted from there.
That's good. Better than I would do probably.
It was insane. It's insane. I was getting drinks from the drink tent, and then I saw Brent Grant hit off the tee, watched the ball, couldn't see where it landed, and then I walked down was following him as he was walking down the fairway, and he just kept walking. And I was like, the other two guys that were playing with him, they stopped, they found their balls, and he just kept walking. I was like, where are you going, bro? And then he was literally 20 yards away from the green. I'm like, there's no way your ball is all the way up there. Like, there's no way that you just hit that ball all the way to almost to the green. And then, sure enough, it was right there. I was like, oh, my God.
That's
that was
crazy.
insane.
That's crazy.
So check out Brent Grant. His Instagram handle is BrentGrant14, and you can follow him on his PGA Tour this season. But thank you guys for being here as we talk about a new sport to the channel and a new sport to us. Let us know what you guys think of the golf content. If you guys enjoy us talking about golf and want to know more, or if you guys just want to hear, news and stuff about the events that happen and whatnot, let us know, and we can definitely work that into our schedule. So,
yep, 100%.
Thanks for being here, John. Appreciate you, man. Hope it's not too cold over there in Minot right now.
I went outside to check my mail and just this jacket without my winter jacket, and I was freezing. And I was only outside for like 2 seconds.
I was at the range and had to stand in the shade because it was too hot. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for being here. We love you. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media links down in the description below, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Deuces.